question in regards to HVAC or heating and air conditioning in the industry of HVAC. The question is there may be multiple types of refrigerant for HVAC systems. For instance, there may be R22, there may be R410A, there may be 404, etc. The question, are all of the pressures the same for each refrigerant? And the answer may be no or not exactly. So be sure when you're buying the refrigerant, obviously it needs to be matched up with the unit. So one needs to have their model number, serial number, and make sure that the particular unit they're servicing, their unit, has the appropriate refrigerant for that unit. For instance, case in point, R22 needs to be R22, R410A needs to be 410A. Otherwise, you get them configured because the compressor and the way it's engineered, designed, etc., it may not work properly with the wrong refrigerant. So be sure to understand the pressures and the high and the low pressures and etc. It's not even a bad idea to understand the boiling point of some of these refrigerants. Say one may at minus 40 some odd degrees, it may begin to boil. For instance, water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, but some of these refrigerants, and also one has to be keep in mind that if it touches your finger, it can burn. So it may not be a bad idea to wear gloves and glasses when fooling with it. However, if you decide if you're qualified to do so. But no, the refrigerants, the pressures, for instance, R22, and then the 410A. And if one looks here, the gauges here, some of the older gauges may not have gone this high, but in this particular case, this one goes 100, 200, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to 800 on the high side. So be sure now on the low side, it goes 50, 100, 200, 250. I missed one, 100, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, up to say 500 psi. So again, but this is the high side. So be certain your red hose and check your hoses periodically to make sure that your hoses are not dry rotted, because the refrigerant is very expensive. And so if you do it and it sprays out, number one, it's not a good thing to do. And however, so just make sure your hoses are up to date. And in my opinion, check for dry, make sure they're dry rotted. Every so often, it may not be a bad idea to get a new hose. The red would go here, the blue would go here, the yellow that would feed the tank would go in this manner here. So, but again, say R22 may not be quite as high as another refrigerant, say for instance a 410A. So keep in mind the higher refrigerants, some of these older gauges may not, the numbers may not have been this high. So do keep in the forefront of your mind that the higher the refrigerant, it behooves one to make sure that their hoses are intact, in good shape, not dry rotted, because the more pressure the more pressure you're going to put on the system. So, but all refrigerants may not be the same pressures. One may be higher, one may be lower, etc. So one needs to check with their manufacturer or check with the refrigerant, and be sure to use the appropriate refrigerant for your particular need. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.